We are a quarter of the way through the regular season, and now we're moving on to the second quarter. Hey everyone, welcome to day number 3, the first group for today. Oh, look at that, we actually have 2 Corvettes and 2 Chevys. I don't know if I've ever seen 2 pairs of the same vehicle in one group before. Excuse me. But it looks like the Chevy is among the vehicles that have that creepy face on the side. Please, somebody, explain to me what that's supposed to be, because I have no idea, and I think that uncertainty makes it a little more unsettling for me than it already is. Right now, though, the yellow Corvette was trying to hold on to that lead, but that huge turn made them slow down so much, and they were not able to take the win. They did finish in second, though, so maybe as they get to the tighter lanes, they'll be able to perform a little bit better. Right now, it's the white Chevy that took the win, so that Chevy with the creepy face is already denied a sweep. Speaking of which, that Firebird that also had the face on the side, we did check them for performance-enhancing drugs, because we don't have that happen too often, where somebody wins every single race and finishes with record breakers multiple times. But we did check them, and they were racing legitimately, so no worries there. Right now, that white Chevy is out in front, trying to keep that lead. Going into that wide turn there, but they managed to hold on to it. And the yellow Corvette is trying to hold on to second. I don't think they did. I think the black Chevy managed to pull it off. Meanwhile, that blue Corvette was falling behind again. Something about that car is just not doing so well. Meanwhile, they almost finished. The white Chevy, almost finished under 13 seconds. That's a little bit more promising than some of the racers the other day. Into race number 3, I think the Chevy just needs one more win before they're guaranteed a spot in today's finals. Right now, they don't quite have the lead. The black Chevy's trying to take that from them, but the white Chevy does get that lead back. The yellow Corvette is out in second, trying to close the gap between the two. But so far, that white Chevy is a threat. They go into that wider turn, so maybe the yellow Corvette will take the lead, but they don't, and the white Chevy wins again. What is up with that blue Corvette? They are just quickly falling behind each and every single time, regardless of which lane they're in. I don't know if they're just having a bad day, or they think their life sucks, or what have you, but they could be having some challenges in their head that lead them to think that they are not good at what they do. And of course, if you have that mentality, is what I'm trying to say, going in, that you're not going to do well, chances are that's exactly how it's going to go down. And they're already way behind. Meanwhile, the 2 Chevys are fighting for that top spot. The yellow Corvette is trying to keep up with them. They get that tight turn, and they manage to take full advantage and take the lead at the last second, finishing with a 13.23. Not a record breaker, but compared to a lot of the other racers, that's still pretty good. They'll have to pick up any slack that they have if they want to have any contention against the Firebird. But it's the white Chevy and the yellow Corvette moving on. Let's see who will join them in the second group, which has another Corvette, another Toyota Supra, a Cobra, and a Ferrari. I am loving the designs on a lot of these vehicles. Some of them are relatively plain, but others are very cool, at least to me. Let us know in the comments which car has the favorite design of yours so far. Right off the bat, though, it's that Corvette that has a really good lead against the other 3. They're going into this final stretch, have the widest turn, but because of the lead they have, it does not really matter, and they finish with a 13.43. Still relatively decent, and somehow that Corvette finished backwards? It looked like they were facing forwards up until they got off camera, so maybe somehow when they finished they flipped around. Or maybe the design is just messing with my head. I'm not entirely sure, but they have the win, so let's see how they do in the second race. They did get a really good start right off the bat. But those other three racers are right behind them, and they're trying to keep up. So far, that Corvette does have a lead, while the other three are staying behind. And right now, they are in a position where the first and second place winners will move on. So they still have a shot, regardless of how the Corvette does. But the Corvette is showing to be a decent competitor, especially against these three. And they finished with a 13.55. They did finish a little bit slower there, so that is a little bit dangerous, but compared to the other three, they're still doing relatively well. If they can finish one more time, they will be able to move on automatically. Not as strong of a start, where the Cobra and the Supra are keeping up with them. But that turn makes all the difference as the Corvette pulls away again, trying to keep that up. And it's the Cobra that is trying to catch them and is slowly closing that gap, but it doesn't look like they'll have enough in the tank to close the gap completely. And the Corvette wins again, allowing them another chance to move on. And I don't know what I mean by another chance. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. But they have guaranteed a spot in today's finals. And so far, every racer has been completely consistent, actually. But when it comes to overall points, it's the Cobra, I believe, that has the greatest odds. But even then, those odds aren't very big when you consider the fact that the other two aren't too far behind them. And it's the Corvette that still has that lead. They're trying to get the sweep. Will they be able to? They do have the tightest turn, which will give them the edge here. And they have that lead. They get the win, which will grant them the sweep. I think so far we've had 3 cars, including this one, get a sweep, and only one so far has been completely undefeated. That being said, it is the Cobra that will join the Corvette in the finals. 2 Corvettes, 1 Chevy, and 1 Cobra. Right now, it's that blue Corvette that seemed to be doing relatively well. However, it's that white Chevy that gets the early lead. The blue Corvette is trying to catch them, but that gap is slowly opening up. Out of nowhere, though, the yellow Corvette takes advantage of the tighter turn, grabs the lead, and is able to hold on to it. They did shake loose a little bit, which caused them to lose some momentum, and that white Chevy saw that opening and managed to get the win. I want to say the blue Corvette did take second place at the last possible moment. Let's see. Yes, they did. They managed to grab second, making the yellow Corvette finish in third. Yeah, that blue Corvette seems to be doing relatively well. But that Chevy is probably their biggest competitor right now. Although a lot of this could depend on which lane they're in, because some of them do relatively well on the tighter turns, but when they do the wider ones, that's when they're in trouble. But that blue Corvette is in the lead, followed by the yellow. They go into the wide turn, and the yellow Corvette is trying to hold on to a lead. I don't think they did. We'll have to check that replay, because they did have the lead going into that last stretch, but I think the blue Corvette might have taken it. Yes, they did. And because of that, they now have the lead in points. And right now, having the overall lead is what matters, because no longer will second place have a chance to move on. That white Chevy is trying to make something happen, but so far, it's struggling a little bit. Not terribly, but noticeably. But that being said, they do have a decent-sized lead right now, and they have the tighter turn here. Can they hold on to it going into that extremely wide one? They do. And the Corvettes are fighting for second, and it's the blue one that finished in second, whereas the white Chevy finishes in first. That is definitely going to help them. They desperately needed that. Now, they're currently in the lead in points with 12, but that blue Corvette is only 1 point behind them. So at this point, it's essentially whoever finishes in front of the other especially if one of them finishes in first. Now, if they do end up tying though, we will go into a tiebreaker. Right now it's the white Chevy that's out in front, but the yellow Corvette comes out of nowhere, takes the lead, and is trying to extend that lead with the 2 tight turns that they have. That wide turn is going to kill some of their speed, but they managed... I almost said they managed to hold off the other racers and get the win, but the white Chevy comes in front of him and manages to get that win, allowing them to grab the 3rd spot in the grand finals, finishing only not in first once. But they managed to get the overall win and will join the Mustang and the Firebird. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.